Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has arrived in the United Kingdom for the latest meeting of the so-called Coalition of the Willing to appeal for more military support. Zelenskyy first met with King Charles at Windsor Castle. He is now heading to London to meet the UK Prime Minister Kier Starmer and other EU leaders at Downing Street. In a statement ahead of the meeting, Starmer emphasized the need to ratchet up the pressure on Russia. The coalition will also discuss how to ensure Ukraine's security if and when the war is over, including the possibility of putting European troops on the ground.
An end to this sheer terror may feel far off, with Russia continuing to bombard civilians. But plans are already underway in the event of a Ukraine peace deal. The so-called Coalition of the Willing, led by France and the UK, has been discussing post-war security guarantees for Ukraine. And that could include European troops being deployed as peacekeepers.
We will be ready to help secure that peace for the long term. That requires us to invest and prepare our forces to be ready to deploy. Kier Starmer has said, if necessary, he's willing to see UK boots on the ground in Ukraine.
When he hosted the coalition in September, France's Emmanuel Macron spoke of 26 countries willing to offer military support. But so far, not all of them have committed to sending troops to Ukraine. Along with France and the UK, Belgium and Baltic states Lithuania and Estonia have confirmed they're in the yes camp. The third Baltic state, Latvia, is undecided, while Sweden is also a maybe as it seeks clarification. Germany and Italy are among the countries who've ruled out sending troops, together with Spain, the Netherlands, Finland, Poland and Hungary. European leaders are set to be modelling proposals for post-war Ukraine on Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. As well as the security guarantees, there would also be financial support to help rebuild Ukraine and a path to eventual EU membership.
Now let's bring in DW's Brussels correspondent Terry Schultz and our correspondent Birgit Maas in London. Birgit, let's start with you. What commitments does Zelenskyy hope to secure from that coalition of the willing?
When Zelenskyy meets Kier Starmer, we expect that to happen very soon, which is going to be here in Downing Street. And later on, he's going to meet with other European leaders, some present, some remotely. He's really hoping for more show of support. I mean, this is what the Coalition of the Willing is there for, to coordinate the support for Ukraine, to be there in if there in the event of a ceasefire. But Kier Starmer is hoping to go a little bit further than that. In his briefing, he says that he wants to pile on pressure on Vladimir Putin. So not just be there in the event of a ceasefire, but also to work alongside President Trump to get Vladimir Putin to agree to negotiations and a ceasefire.
Terry, over to you. So far, the European Union has not managed to use these frozen Russian assets to fund support for Ukraine. What other options are being discussed?
That's right. As you mentioned, an EU summit that wrapped up late last night failed to secure agreement basically from Belgium to release this 140 billion euros, basically because Belgium wants the other countries to back it up in case Russia somehow legally manages to demand those funds back after they've been given as a loan to Ukraine. So some of the other thoughts that are being passed around come from Belgium, who says that, hey, the UK has 30 billion euros in frozen assets. Let's see London mobilize those for Ukraine. Otherwise, through NATO, there's a program called PEARL, the Prioritized Ukraine Requirement List, which seeks to use European money to buy U.S. weapons to get them to Ukraine very quickly. That program has only seen 2 billion euros mobilized so far. Otherwise, Ukraine is basically dependent on bilateral assistance from the countries that have been giving it all along. And we should note that in the second half of this year, those contributions have dropped off sharply. So this is a really big concern if the allies can keep up their support to Ukraine.
Terry, we've just heard in the report that this coalition of the willing is divided on the issue of sending actual troops to Ukraine after a ceasefire. Why is that topic so controversial?
I think because we're further than ever from a ceasefire being agreed. So countries are being asked in the coalition of the willing to commit their citizens to serving in a mission that actually has no rules. It has no borders. There are no, there's no clarification yet on what would happen if Russia did attack these soldiers that would be serving there, particularly whether the U.S. would be willing to provide what's commonly referred to as a backstop to try to deter Russia from attacking people on the ground. So I'm actually more surprised that countries are willing to say they would do it than that they're not.
Birgit, back over to you in London there. Does the coalition seem to be more united when it comes to other measures of support?
The coalition is really also a place where people are discussing measures. And Kier Starmer has said that what Terry mentioned, the guarantees, for example, for Belgium, when it comes to using Russian assets, we would expect this to be discussed here. And maybe there will be some creative solutions, that it's not just an EU initiative, but that it goes further. And of course, the UK also has Russian assets. And it's not just EU leaders that are here as a part of a coalition of the willing, it's a wider coalition. So that will be something that will be discussed. We also expect from what Kier Starmer hopes that it's also about the supply of long-range missiles. So really also a coordination when it comes to military equipment, as well as the economic sanctions that Kier Starmer is pushing for.
Now, Kier Starmer, as a host, do you feel that he's under pressure to push through an agreement today?
Well, there were reports of a European plan for Ukraine, which was modeled on the peace plan for Gaza. Potentially, that's nothing that's been confirmed, but potentially this is something that could be discussed here, and that will be interesting to see when leaders meet here in just a few hours' time. But really, it's a show of strength for Ukraine. This is what we are being briefed here. It's not just about concrete, for example, troops on the ground, but it's really just gathering these leaders and showing also the Americans that Europe is also serious when it comes to supporting, helping Ukraine.
DW's correspondents Terry Schultz in Brussels and Birgit Maas in London. Thank you both.